Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we'll continue the video about how to write a good quality research paper and get published in a high impact journal. In the previous video, we show how to select a target journal and how to select a quality research paper. So that from that you can try to write your own paper based on the paper that you have downloaded. So to get more, you can go to our previous video. So for this, there is two cases. The first case, we suppose that you have your idea and experimental result, like you have everything to write your paper. So for that, you have to check how the template paper or the download paper that your quality research paper that you download from the target journal is organized. From the title, you see how the author formulates their title, how they write the abstract, and how they write the remaining section. So for that, you have to then from that you have to formulate similarly based on the selected paper. It's also advised to cite more recent paper from the selected target journal because you want to publish in a high impact journal. So you get a similar paper that is published there. So you have to try to cite more paper from there, and if possible, try to do comparison from other papers published in the same target journal, like where you want to publish your paper. So the second case, we suppose that you don't have any idea. You want to get contribution, like you want to do contribution from the selected quality paper. So you download a good quality paper. You want to understand the paper and get make contribution from that paper. So for that, you have to read the paper several times. So to get idea, and in particular the methodology section, like to see how which methodology is applied, which methods they use, which techniques they use, and which approach they apply, how they perform their experimental. So you also have to understand all formula, especially for engineering research that is given in the paper, because sometimes when we already read paper, when there's a lot of mathematical problem in the paper, so the paper look like more difficult and not interesting. Why? Because in published paper, usually author provide only the formula. They suppose that you have background on it, few, and also because the paper is limited, so there's a limited number of pages, so the author cannot provide everything. Sometimes they give it in appendix, but sometimes also you have to refer to books to see all the demonstration of the formula, how the formula is formulated, and how can you demonstrate those formula, and also use a simple numerical example to check if you can get the value that the author provide. Because sometimes you can see they just give the formula and finally you see in one table they add all values, so you don't know where those values come from. But if you have a books on the research topic, you can go to those books, check as we say in the previous video, to check everything related to the formula. Because if you want to do contribution, it is a must to understand the formula, because as we say in the previous video, usually the contribution come from optimization method, mathematical method, or something, or simulation based approaches. So this is the main part of the contribution in a research paper, especially in engineering research paper. So, and sometimes you can see the author formulates the contribution at the end of the introduction, or sometimes at the beginning of the proposed approach. So to this, just explain how to identify exactly the main contribution of the paper. Some authors they provide it in form of paragraph. This is our main contribution are as follow, so you can see the contribution. But to understand the contribution, you have to check all formula given by the author, where the formula come from. Is like universal formula, or the author propose their own formula or own methodology. So this is how you can get a idea about how to do contribution from a selected paper. So For that also, you have to try to reproduce like numerical example if author provide them. As we say, you can see sometimes if author give us some values from table in a table, but you don't know how those values come from. So, but if the author didn't provide a numerical example, you have to create yourself a simple example, like to apply the formula of the author and to see if a simple numerical demonstration you can get those value or understand the value. And in engineering, usually the contribution is in form of mathematical formula, as we say, like optimization method. Sometimes they propose algorithm, or sometimes they do proof of mathematical, something like mathematical proof or data analysis proof. Sometimes also is like simulation based analysis, as we say. So these are in the main point about the contribution of a paper, if we in especially in engineering science. So as we say, if you have ready a idea and the result, you have just to check the organization, formulate similar like similarity the selection. But if you don't have idea and you want to get idea from the select paper, we say you have to check like how those all formula, how the author formulate them. So first we give a simple example about the first case, like when you have idea, you have your experimental data, you want to write similar contribution. So here we give just some two example of paper like published in the same journal, as we say. So we see if we get if we check it there from the title, here we see similarity. By reading the title, you'll see that the keyword that is here is carding, here also here is carding heterogeneous system, heterogeneous computing. So you can easily see that here the two papers are talking about the same topic. So, and if we check the abstract, we can see almost the abstract have the same length, and almost the abstract, the first sentence at the end sentence and like the end sentence or paragraph of the abstract are similarly formulated in the same are formulated in the same way. You can see here, for instance, the author say efficient application scheduling is critical for achieving high performance in heterogeneous compute system. Here, all same thing. Efficient application scheduling algorithms are important for obtaining high performance in heterogeneous compute. Basically, is only here here is critical, here is important. So just to say that here from the first paper that is published in 2002, this is the second author that published paper in 2014. You see he formulates similarly the abstract from the previous paper. He based on this paper to formulate his abstract. So if we check also the introduction and all part is basically similarly the same. So this just to see an idea when you get a result and you want to write a good quality paper based on the organization. Again, here in this video we are not showing like to see what is abstract, how to write abstract, how introduction. No, his is like formatting part, how to formulate from grammatical way or something, or from the structure of the paper. So as we say in another video, we talk about what is abstract and how abstract must be, like the length of abstract. But here we are like mapping, you can see like that to see to demonstrate just like from a good quality paper you can also write a good quality paper. If you have ready your experimental data, you have to check how the paper are organized and formulate. So it's the same thing if you see section 2. Also here he talk about that scattering problem, here also scattering problem. So basically they talk about the same thing from all men, or like main section, like they formulate in the same way. So they didn't come from idea. For instance, the first author talk about idea 1, and here in the same idea he will talk about idea 3. So again, here it is to show how you can formulate your paper in terms of grammatical or in terms of structure from based on a high quality paper. So the next one is now when you want to get to make a contribution from a download paper, like from a quality research paper that you have read in download. You don't have any idea and you want to do contribution from that good paper and also to publish good paper. So before we introduce that, we have to review, and we'll come in details in another video, like distinction between approaching methodology, method, procedure, techniques, because this in research sometimes is it is interchangeably used in both in many paper. In some paper you can see authors say like approach. In other paper you can see authors say like methodology, but there is difference between this keyword. So we can give a simple definition or simple explanation about all this keyword. For instance, approach is just a direction used to address a problem based on a set of assumptions, and the methodology is a strategy to solve a problem. Like methodology help to realize the defined approach, and the method, it englobes how an approach will be practically implementing the way a research problem could be solved. From this, for instance, you can see an author might decide to take a determinist approach to solve a problem, but to implement this approach, he have to use, for instance, a method. So, for instance, you can decide to use like a stochastic programming like method or a statistical method. So you see that there is a difference between this approach, method, and methodology. And now a procedure is just sequence of techniques. Like in every method you must have a procedure. Like in other time it's just built-in algorithm. Like okay, it can be like in simplex algorithm or gradient based algorithm. So, and here finally we can see that technique and like is immediate step taken which give an immediate result. For instance, formulation of mathematical equation, conversion data approach. So here this will focus on that to see contribution. So in engineering science engineer, if you want to make contribution, you have to propose your own technique. This way is a formula, how you formulate an equation, how you formulate a optimization problem, how you handle your technique, like your mathematical formula. So because we need this one, this is why we review this, but now we'll come in the video to give a more explanation about the difference between this approaching. So now let's go to the second part. Like we say that you have select a paper but you don't have any idea, you want to get contribution, you make contribution from the selected paper. So suppose that you have an author that propose a technique that is A plus B. Don't forget again, we said that the technique is like how from a like formulation of mathematical problem, because here we can say method, but if you say method, people do confusion with like methodology to apply. We are not talking about methodology, we're talking about technique in terms of contribution. So, and you like another author like you, why can come say, okay, me, since the author X propose A plus B, me I will propose a technique that is named A plus B plus C. This is your, it will be your contribution, but like why you add C have like must have a theoretical and mathematical meaning. It's just not because okay, I realize if or I test by pre simulation that is if I add the value C, I can get like good result than the first author. So I added. No, it's not like that. You can add it, but you have to prove, and that C that you add, why you add it, why this C is important. And mathematical, it can be proved or it has meaning. So like to show the importance of adding that C. If you reach to do that, so you can say you make contribution from the selected paper that propose A plus B, and you come you propose A plus C. It's the same of combination. This is why sometimes we call it hybrid method, like hybrid technique. So you can see now in many people you can see author propose like hybrid technique. Hybrid technique is a contribution if the combination of the method you did have meaning, and you can explain why this combination is important. Usually in a high impact journal, they do not accept this type of contribution. You see, usually it can have, some journals can accept it, but if you want to, if in a big journal, for instance, if you find an author X propose a technique A and you use data set X for experimental analysis, then the author comes say, okay, me, I will use the same technique as author X, but I just use different data analysis. This in reality is not a big contribution. Why I say big contribution? Because you can say some journal can accept it, but high impact journal, I can say, will not accept it because you didn't create any innovation. What sometimes you say innovation. What's your main contribution here? You just use different data, but who tell you if the author A use the same or also other different data, you can get the same result? Just here to say that a contribution is your own technique, like mathematical formulation in engineering science again, that you propose, which optimization method you propose, but just change data set and say you did contribution, use the same technique is not a really a big contribution. But you can see some published paper, they did that, and as I say, it is not in a high impact journal. If you check, most of people that do like that, because sometimes people confuse, like as I say, they do confuse about method and the methodology and technique. In technique, it should be unique. Technique, like this propose a technique, I have to improve that technique by adding, as I say, some parameter, and to see why this parameter that I add are important. So then now you can say I have contributed, but just use the same data, or just change the environment and use same technique. It's not being a contribution. But sometimes some author can propose it as like a comparison, analyzing, or like comparison, like contribution. But as I say, most journals, they don't see this as contribution. They just say maybe you just extend the result of someone, because he uses his technique, his own mathematical formula. As we say again, contribution usually comes from your mathematical contribution, because here you are in theoretical research or empirical research. So but a good contribution should be like in this form. For instance, you see, you author Y, you propose a technique B and you use the same data for X. For instance, you see the author X propose a technique A, use data X. You also, okay, me, I will propose a technique B, and use same data X, and see that my technique is better than the technique A that author X proposed. This should be a very good contribution for high impact journal. So the last part of the presentation is about we talk about what we call the predatory journal. This also happen to many scholars, especially for beginner or PhD students that just start research. They don't have experience of that. Also sometimes you can see even full professor, maybe in other country, that don't have a experience in research. They can make this mistake, like publish in some predatory journal. So what is predatory journals? If you refer to this article that you can find online, it's just like fraudulent or deceptive or pseudo journal are publications that claim to be legitimate scholar journal but misrepresent their publishing practice. Like they don't show information about their review, about their process, like they hide a lot of information about their journal. So usually they are characterized by they give a lot of advertising a journal impact factor on their website that cannot be verified, because you can go to their website, you find they write, okay, our journal impact is 10, 5, like high impact. But if you check in in big data base, like Web of Science or some similar database, you can see that those journals don't even exist. And they give also advertising on realistic timeline for publication. For instance, they will say, okay, their publication is just using 1 week or 2 weeks. You can send your paper today, after 1 week, 2 weeks, you have ready an answer. So how can you see this journal is a just journal? And some also, they just give you advertisement in your email. You can see in sometime in a spam, or sometime your own even reception email, you get a lot of advertisement to publish. We invite you to publish your paper in this journal. So you see, most time they do like those advertisements. So if you don't know, you or you are a little beginner in this area, you are novice in this area, you can easily make mistake to publish in your journal, but in reality they are not even a well-known journal. They just like are predatory journals. And sometimes they publish article for which author pay even if the article is low quality. Like you can see, they don't check the quality of the article, a lot of grammar error, a lot of things. And also sometimes if the paper not related to their journal topic, you never see a good journal, a high impact journal. For instance, even your paper is very good, you can try to submit your paper to a journal, but that journal will say, okay, this your research, you are not interested about your research, you have to send it to another journal. You see, it's not, that does not mean that your paper is not good, but they are not related to your research. Like the journal topic is not relating to what you send to them. So you see, but if it's predatory journal, they will accept any kind of paper. So because they just want to, if like what me I call them is once they just want money. So this is how me I call them. So, and also is in the like you cannot verify the editorial board, cannot be verified, or people who do not exist. So sometimes you will just see that like they will just try to write some a well-known researcher on their website, and with that they don't even know when they add the affiliation. For instance, you can find in the predatory website they add in the editorial board some well-known professor without their agreement. They just go to add to list some author name there to show that we have a good editorial board, but in reality they just hide their face, their information. So, and accredited journal like always give more detail and transparency on their website. So if you compare to really the well-known journal and the accredited journals, you can see all information from their website. So like the indexing, where you can find their like citation index, their impact, their also editorial board. So these are tips to determine if a journal or publication is predatory. For instance, you can ask yourself, is the peer review process clearly stated on the website? Like, are they provide like description about the review process, how long it take, if all information, and also the editor board member, like members and the reviewer related to the journal. For instance, you can see the editor board, he checks their research, like just like their research interesting. The research interesting is the same as the what is is the predatory journal research area. For instance, you can see, okay, they add one author, his research area is like computer science, then but the journal talk about geology. So how can you see that, like you can identify that this is not like it's not compatible? You cannot add editorial board in another research area, then now you come again to accept any kind of paper. Your editorial board are computer science scientists, then you accept geography paper, something like that. So, and also you can check the index in the well-known database, so it is a Web of Science. If you check the name of the journal, you try to check it if you can find that journal in Web of Science of Medellin or something like that. And also you can ask yourself if it is easy to contact the publisher. Sometimes some publisher hide the information, you can not get them by email or by phone. So, and the most important thing, you have to check if the journal is advised by your university, because in most universities, especially in China that I know, they have a website, they provide all well-known journal and conferences. So, and also again they give another link for predatory journal. So you have to check your university if they have those kind of link, or your supervisor or your friend, something like that, to check if where you are going to publish are the journal is a well-known journal or are in predatory journals. So these are some tips to determine if a journal or publisher is predatory or not. Thank you for watching my video. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the video. See you.